that was the first flag there when I started looking a little bit deeper into SoFi. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. We are reviewing two great options today, or are they? We are comparing Marcus by Goldman Sachs and social finance. So we're going to go over the features, general features, and I'm going to give you my experience as someone that's been using high yield savings accounts over the last at least a year and a half. I'm going to tell you that I bank with Marcus by Goldman Sachs, but I must say that SoFi is a good option, but it has its own drawbacks. So we're going to explore what these are here in this video. And when it comes to high yield savings accounts, as a reminder, if you are not familiar on how high yield savings accounts are a good option, they have high interest rates, so you can make more money with the money that you have. It has flexible access, unlike certificates of deposit, aka CDs, or putting your money in the stock market. With high yield savings accounts, you can get your money any time of the day, any time of the week. You don't have to go through complicated processes or get charged penalty fees for accessing your money. Also, of course, inflation protection. You can save money for an emergency fund, and of course, saving for a purchase. So generally speaking, these are the 5 features of the 5 advantages of having a high yield savings account. And I think this is important to understand as we go into the video. So now, to give you a little bit of my story, if you don't know anything about me, I am a dad, I'm a husband, if you see my family there. And in 2021, my wife and I, we finished paying off $215,000 of a bunch of student loans and credit cards and a bunch of other stuff. And that's when we decided to build an emergency fund. And we needed to access the money in 5 years or less. There are many financial resources out there that suggest if you're going to need your money in less than 5 years, then a high yield savings account is a good option. If you're going to need your money in more than 5 years, the stock market, mutual funds can be a good idea, because at that point, after 5 years, you couldn't give the market enough time to recover, because the market, we all know, goes up and down, up and down. And also, we are saving for a house, to buy a new car eventually. We want to buy that in a lump sum. We don't want to get into debt again. So with all those things into considerations, we decided to go with a high yield savings account. Now, let's go into the meat of the video. And before we keep going here, I want to ask you, why are you considering a high yield savings account? What are the goals that you have financially speaking? Let me know in the comments. Let's get to know each other a little further. So with this being said, let's jump into the general features and comparisons between Marcus by Goldman Sachs and Social Financial, aka SoFi. As you can see here from the APY, it's 4.3% for Marcus by Goldman Sachs, and SoFi has a 4.5% APY. However, there's a little tiny star here, which is very important, and this is going to be key as we go further in this video, because you're going to be seeing a lot of these, especially for SoFi. So what this means is that in order to get the APY of 4.5%, you have to get direct deposit. We're going to get through that in a second. Now, there are some account bonuses that you can get with each of these organizations. The first one, for instance, is if you open an account with Marcus by Goldman Sachs with a link in the description, you can get 1% APY additional. Technically, you would get 5.3% APY for your savings account for 3 months. Now, the other bonus for SoFi is you could get up to $275 if you use the link in the description. But here's the caveat. You have to set up direct deposit. You get $50 with a direct deposit of $1,000 to $5,000. And you get the $250 if you have a $5,000 plus direct deposits. So this is very important, because many people may think, I'm just going to open an account, set up my direct deposit of $500, $700, however much it is. But if you only do that, then you may not qualify for that $250. And then you're going to call the bank complaining, saying you're not honoring your offer. And then they're going to hit you with the footnotes, because they don't tell you this information up front. They put it way down below in the footnotes. And personally, that's something that when I saw, I started not liking. So let's move on now from the bonuses to the FDIC insurance. Very important, of course. Both these organizations are insured up to $250,000. We want to avoid a situation where we bank with an institution that is not FDIC insured, because otherwise we may lose our money in case the bank goes sideways. Now, SoFi, that's something interesting. And it does the whole FDIC insurance. It takes it to the next level. because SoFi set up a network of banks that allow you to insure your money up to $2 million. Now, here's how it works. And let's say that you have $2 million to put into your savings account. I don't know why you would put that much money in the savings account. At that point, you'd probably be doing something else with that money. But let's say that you decide to open a high yield savings account through SoFi. So SoFi takes that and says, okay, so you have $2 million. And if we want to insure all this money through the FDIC, SoFi then hires another company, and that company distributes the money to different banks. And all those banks are also FDIC insured. And so that way they can say, hey, if you go through us, we can insure your money up to $2 million. But chances are, if you watch this video, then most likely you don't have $2 million sitting around, especially in a high yield savings account. So we're going to stick with up to $250,000. All right. So now when it comes to minimum deposits, Marcus by Goldman Sachs is no minimum deposit, period. When it comes to SoFi, you don't need minimum deposit, but you do need to have direct deposit to get that APY. And if you don't have a direct deposit, then you don't qualify for the 4.5% APY. Now, when it comes to maintenance fees, none of these organizations charge you maintenance fees. And with that being said, let's jump on to the second page for comparison purposes. And now when it comes to access, how can you access your account? Marcus by Goldman Sachs, it's all about online access. You can just use your phone or your computer, no problem there. Now, the cool thing about SoFi, I must say, that they have online access, of course, like PC, your mobile, but also they have partners with ATMs that allows you to access your money through partner ATMs. And that's a very good feature if you want to access your money right away, but they do have a limit on how much money you can access. I believe last time I checked, it was up to $1,000 per day that you can withdraw from your ATM. But I want to say it's a good option in case of an emergency. Maybe you need to fix your car. Maybe you need to pay somebody under the table. Who knows, right? Who knows? There are plenty of reasons why you may need cash right away. And so now let's go on to the making deposits. Oh, by the way, before we move on from account access, none of these organizations have branches where you can just go into and talk to a teller, customer service representative. It's all online or the ATM. Now, when it comes to making deposits, bank transfers, direct deposit, and wire transfers are applicable to Marcus by Goldman Sachs. Personally, I use the bank transfer. I have a credit union where I handle all my stuff, and I transfer directly to my savings account through that credit union. Now, SoFi, on the other hand, you can do bank transfers, you can do e-check deposits, you can also do ATM deposits, cash deposits. So very versatile when it comes to giving you access to making deposits. Now, let's go on to something that is very important when it comes to, hey, if I want to take my money out, let's say one day you decide I need my money. How long does the money take to get to your external account? How long does it take to make a withdrawal if you do an online transfer? We already established that SoFi offers you the option to use ATMs, but what happens if you need more than the ATM limit? What happens if you need $2,000, $10,000, however much it is? Well, the cool feature about Marcus by Goldman Sachs is that it offers you a same-day transfer of $100,000 or less to or from another institution. Personally, I've never had any problems with this. I never transferred that much money in a single day, but it's an option that you do have if in case you need it. Now, on the other hand, if you want to use the online transfer method, then through SoFi, it takes 2 to 3 business days. Now, 2 to 3 business days is also something that I've seen with Ally and other institutions. So it seems that 2 to 3 business days is pretty standard, and somehow Marcus by Goldman Sachs is able to pull off the same day transfer for $100,000 or less. If you know of any other institution that makes this happen, let me know in the comments. I would love to know. Now, when it comes to all-in-one access, let's say if an organization offers checking and savings, Marcus by Goldman Sachs offers no checking. It's only the savings portion. So you have to have an external source connected to your Marcus by Goldman Sachs account. Now, when it comes to SoFi, SoFi is a little, I don't know, depending on how you look at this, it can be a little tricky in order to get more business. But what they do is when they open a savings account, they automatically open you a checking account. They give you a debit card, and with that debit card, you obviously have access to the ATMs. But what happens if you don't want to have a checking account, but you still have it there, and you have to do that, and you have to have direct deposit in order to get the APY of 4.5% as advertised. So it's something that you got to keep in mind and keep into account. It's not like you just open your account and just use it as a savings. It almost like they force you to use SoFi as a primary checking account. It's going to be obviously up to you whether or not you want to grant that permission. All right, so now a couple of other X factors, what I like to call, is Marcus by Goldman Sachs is a well-established brand. Marcus itself, the subsidiary, was established in 2016. Goldman Sachs, however, obviously a giant in the financial space, it was established in 1869. Now, on the other hand, SoFi, it's somewhat new. Social finance was established in 2011 by four bros at Stanford. They started loaning money to students, and eventually they started becoming a bigger and bigger bank. Now they offer, obviously, other features like savings accounts. But it's something interesting to know in case you want to be part of a brand that is well established, or the way I personally see it, SoFi is kind of one of those hipster, trendy type of banks, which comes with pros and cons. And I'm here simply laying out the facts. And when it comes to customer service, personally, I like to have access to customer service in case I have any questions, in case I want to sort something out, in case I need to call somebody. So they do both have customer service available. You can actually talk to a human, but they both have obviously certain hours that may change, and that's why I didn't include it here in this video. Now, when it comes to client reviews, now this is very important over here, because when it comes to client reviews, Marcus by Goldman Sachs scores at about 66%, a 3.3 out of 5, according to WalletHub, and that's after 2,200 reviews. Now, SoFi, on the other hand, scores at a low, I want to say, 2.5 out of 5, or 50% out of 838 reviews. And to me, that was the first flag there. When I started looking a little bit deeper into SoFi, there were many people that were dissatisfied. Some people were saying that SoFi did not honor the APY that they were offered. And personally, it makes me think that some people just don't read the footnotes, because I told you they are a little bit tricky when it comes to advertising something and then giving you all these requirements in the footnotes. If you go to the website right now, you're going to see that a lot of the things they advertise, it has a bunch of stars in them, which means you have to look at the footnotes. Now, personally, when it comes to Goldman Sachs, and that actually brings me to my last point here, my personal take is Goldman Sachs because they're a little bit more upfront. And I know that SoFi has higher interest rate and more access when it comes to the variety of products they offer. And I know that many people may say, hey, as long as it's got a higher interest, I don't care about anything else. But you have to make sure that you read and you do qualify to get the high interest to begin with. So overall, I want to say SoFi has higher interest rate and more access, but it has many hidden requirements. They're kind of tricky. They kind of want to trick you into getting your business, and you have direct deposit to get the high APY. And that's number one. You have to get that. Also, you need a $5,000 direct deposit to get a $250 sign-up bonus. Also, you need a savings account that automatically opens a checking. So right there, they're even giving you more products that you didn't request. And also, there's something funny that they did when they advertised a free account. And the thing that I noticed personally was your account is free unless we decide otherwise, which to me means we're going to give you the account for free for maybe 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. And then, but after the 4th month, technically we could start charging you for your account, because we told you that we can change it at any time. So to me, that was a turnoff per se. Now, also another thing that goes against SoFi in my book is a lower rating and customer reviews, what people were talking about. Personally, I was not a fan of. Now, that's not to say that Marcus is perfect, because it's not. Every bank has its pros and cons. The satisfied customers. SoFi also has satisfied customers. But overall, that was my perception based on the research that I did. Now, on the other hand, with Marcus, that's one of the reasons why I pick it from this comparison. It's more upfront with their features. Hey, you get 1% APY for 3 months if you sign up with the link in the description. And that's what you get. Like whether you deposit $100 or $1,000 or $10,000, it doesn't matter. You get 1%. It is what it is. Very upfront. There's no funny, you have to deposit $50,000 in order to get an extra 1%. So, which is something that I like. Also, the minimum deposit, the monthly fees, no hidden requirements whatsoever. It is what it is. That's what you get. Also, same-day transfer of up to 100K or less. Also, a really good feature that I like. And of course, also the branding. I don't know. Personally, I am more familiar with Goldman Sachs as being in the industry for a long time. It almost feels like you feel safer. And that's just my personal perception, of course. It also has higher customer reviews. And like I said, my wife and I signed up with this organization 1.5 years ago, and we never had any problems. Now, if you are interested in opening an account with Marcus by Goldman Sachs, click the link in the description. You will earn an additional 1% APY for 3 months. Right now, it would be about 5.3%. So you're basically getting free money for 3 months. And lastly, before you think, oh, you're just biased, I really wanted SoFi to be a good organization. I've seen a lot of YouTubers promote it, a lot of bloggers say it's a great institution, but looking a little deeper, one of the reasons why it gets promoted so much, it's because when people sign up for SoFi, then the people that promote it, and hey, I have a link to SoFi in the description too, if you think that's an organization for you, if you meet all the requirements and you read all the footnotes and you think you're going to be all good to go, hey, I also have a link in the description, but one of the reasons why it gets promoted so much is because people get bonuses and they get affiliate commissions when people sign up with the link. So this is just something to give you a perspective and for full transparency here. If you want to sign up with Marcus, I got a link in the description. If you want to sign up with SoFi, I have a link in the description. It will both support the channel. And with that being said, this is my perspective. This is my findings. And of course, feel free to go and do your own research so that you can make the best decisions for yourself, your future, and your family. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Cheers. Cheers.